What's up, guys? And in today's video we are going to be talking about how you can possibly take one split off your rowing times in 24 hours. So not very training specific. There won't be any training advice really, because all that stuff's been done. So it's more kind of the small tweaks and little behaviors that you can change. And often when we've brought on people and they've had a race Jesus, sorry. They've had a race in a week, and there's not really enough time to get an effect from training, but there are some other areas that I'm going to talk you through that we've done that have helped people get like really quick results. I mean, even one of them, this was a mindset one that we did. Okay, it's not 24 hours, it was 2 weeks, but in 2 weeks, just by doing this mindset trick, he took 14 seconds off his 2K, but at the same time, also a big block for him, a big problem was this mindset area. So while you might, over 24 hours, it would be less than that, it'd still have a positive effect. So yeah, I've just jotted down like 5 minutes before this video some ideas, and I've tried to do it in kind of ascending order of impact, but they're all good, they all work. And what I think is the really good habit to have with this stuff is, if you have attention to detail, if you spend a lot of time focusing on one thing with extreme detail, yeah, all your focus might be going to that one thing, but subconsciously, I think, and we've found that it has the side effect that your brain goes, okay, well, say you're really focusing on getting to bed at 10 p.m. or something, and you're being very diligent and you're focused towards that very specific thing, that's the only thing you're thinking about. Your brain, as a reaction to this, thinks, okay, well, I'm prioritizing this very one small detail very, very highly. It must mean that, for the end, it's a means to an end, and for the end, this must be a very high value thing. So as a result, your brain gives more time and values other habits around that. As a result, just bring everything else up. So focusing on these small details might not feel like a lot, but I think it has a really good effect on your mindset and how you value your performance. And just without trying, you can really up the friggin', I don't know, I lost my word there. Up the results of the other things that you focus on, or whatever. So the first one, probably, a few of these guys, you've probably heard them quite frequently. Sleep, get to bed on time. To be honest, I put this at the bottom because some of my worst nights of sleep have been the night before my PBs. I've heard countless stories of athletes before their Olympic final, before they do this insane physical performance, have been from a night of bad sleep. And of course, you want to get to bed on time as best as possible. But and if you can, I'm sure there's no way that having a great night's sleep wouldn't have a positive effect. But it just doesn't seem to be that big a deal. But at the same time, you always feel better after a good night's sleep. That's a big thing. Whether or not it has a huge effect on your performance, certainly over a longer term, it absolutely does. But over the shorter term, who's to say? But yeah, get to bed on time. Cut out caffeine. Cut out caffeine. I wouldn't have caffeine any closer than 8 hours before you go to bed. Obviously, alcohol, that's an obvious one. I feel like if you're drinking alcohol the day before a race and this is like new to you, then no comment. But that's another one, is avoid caffeine, and just keep your routine the same. Maybe if you have a later race the next day or a later performance, don't just think, oh, I'm going to sleep in. You want to keep your wake up routine the same, so your circadian rhythm stays the same. Hydration. So hydration, drink water, drink electrolytes, drink enough of it. Your urine should be light yellow or clear. Very easy to do this. Do not wait until race day. This takes roughly 36 hours. It takes roughly 36 hours for your body to fully hydrate. So make sure that you're just sipping. I've always got water beside my desk. Let's cheers. Cheers. Anytime you're watching my videos, make sure you have water beside you. That's something I always do in coaching calls. It's not, I don't intend to do it, but I just always notice when most people don't have it. It'll be a 30 or a 60-minute coaching call, and they won't take a drink from their water. And then, at some point down the line, I'll be like, look, oh, by the way, just make sure you're drinking enough, because it makes a difference. You need to be sipping, just a little sip like that, every 20 minutes. Do that for ideally do it all the time, but certainly for the 36 hours in the lead up to the race or performance. It doesn't just have to be a race. It can be an important test that you have or a session you just want to crush. Arrive on time. That's the next one. So make sure that you're not flustered when you get to wherever you're going to. Let's just assume that we're doing a race, okay, and adjust it for whatever you want. Like, you just apply the same approach to, like, if you're doing a 3x2k or seat racing, whatever. Ideally, if you can show up to the venue ahead of time, you don't want to be chasing yourself. You don't want to be on the back foot. That just sort of frantic, it removes control from you. It makes you a bit more frantic. It doesn't give you the space to stay calm and stay focused on what you need to do. So it's a short and sweet one. Make sure that you have, I'd say generally you want like roughly 20 to 30 minutes where you can just sit around and do nothing, listen to some music. I used to, when I had free time, I would just lie down, shut my eyes, and listen to music. That was what I would do, just to chill out and get that space. But yeah, what's another one? Focus on the process. That's a really big one. So try to, as much as you can, this is quite a mindset one, but try to not think about the outcome. You will always think about the outcome. There's no denying that, but when it comes in, the important thing is for you to train, and ideally do this in training as well, where you're training yourself to respond onto something you can control, but be very focused on the process. What can you do within your training, within your racing, that's going to get you a good performance? What technique do you need to focus on? And again, don't just say like have nice catches or be really connected. Those are still outcomes. They might sound like the process, but they're not. It's like, what do you need to do to be connected? What do you need to do to have really nice catches? And do that. Yeah, and then like a good race plan as well is always, I think it's always better to have it too simple than too complicated. So just know what you're doing, especially if you're going to be in a crew. Know what the rough plan is and have flexibility within that. Yeah. Clear your head. Okay, that can be a bit harder to do, but if you can, try and make sure you've not got any like last minute tasks that you're trying to do. So a lot of the time this is out of your control, but if you can, just maybe put it down in your schedule, put it down in your calendar, and just make sure you've not got any work things popping up last minute, or you're ahead of schedule, just to give you that clarity with your mind. But yeah, the other one, I don't think I was in two minds about talking about it, but it's basically, caffeine, I'm not going to go into it. You can use it as for performance. I don't want to go into it too much, especially because I know there'll be juniors and stuff. Already so many juniors, they take so much they take the pre-workout. We were working with this one. Yeah, we normally work with masters rowers, but occasionally do work with juniors, and he was taking a pre-workout every day at 3 p.m. and like 400 milligrams of caffeine, like just destroying sleep quality. But anyways, it can be abused, but it can be used as a performance enhancer. It's a drug. It's a legal performance enhancing drug. The evidence is there, but always consult with your doctor and make sure that you're medically cleared to do so. And this information is strictly for educational purposes. Don't sue me. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and then I went on to talk about it, so oh well. Visualize. This is a huge one. This is the one that we did with the athlete that took 14 seconds off their 2K in 2 weeks. His big problem was the second 250, and as soon as he would feel that first pinch, he would go, like, just back off, because he felt that pinch so early. So he was very worried about overpacing it. So we did lots and lots of visualization work. You want to create, figure whatever it is for you. The big thing is create a very strong setting. We're huge on visualization. So important. Such a good tool to use. Create a very strong setting of your environment. Get very detailed on that. Maybe take some notes down, have a clear understanding of what that is. From there, you want to have a strong understanding of where your problem points are within your race, your performance. Where do you normally struggle? And then what are the thoughts that normally come along with that? Getting the specifics. The more specific you can get, the better. And to the point, it just sounds a bit ridiculous. And then from there, the next stage is to not beat yourself up about that problem being there. You don't want to immediately fight that problem with aggression or aggravation or anxiety. The first step to improving it is just accepting it. From there, you can then think about, what is the process that I'm going to focus on? What is the next controllable step that I can take to improve that? And then the final step of visualization is to imagine the positive of that outcome, whatever that is for you. In this case, for the 250, it was them just crushing right through the 250 and going on to crush their PB. So that's a huge one. Visualization. You can do this within 24 hours as well. Ideally, you do it for a couple weeks out, but you can do it 24 hours out as well, and just cycle. Get as many reps of that as you can through your head. Imagine. Eating, again, you got to eat food. The easiest ones you can do here are some quick tips. The 24 hours out. See, obviously, trigger warning. I'm gonna talk about kind of macros and stuff. So please skip if you might get triggered by this. But probably 24 hours out, you want to try and avoid, of course, while fats are important for a diet and for an endurance athlete, you want to avoid that 24 hours out from any race. What happens with fats is, while they can be good for you, is they'll coat your endothelium cells in your arteries, and you basically just don't want to have that happening, because your endothelium cells are responsible for expanding and contracting your arteries to allow for blood flow, which is obviously what you want for performance. So try and cut that out, minimize it from 24 hours out. The night before, eat a lot of carbs, basically, and try and have like lower fat food. Sure. And then the 3 to 4 hours before, you want to have a huge amount of carbs basically before your performance. Like, stuff your face with carbs and be very full from it. Again, lower fat, higher carbs. And then probably around 90 minutes before, you maybe want to snack on some sugary, sugar. We're endurance athletes. Okay, you break down carbs, it becomes sugar. When you're close to a performance window, you want sugar. It's not going to spike your blood sugar because you're about to use it. You want those carbohydrates topped up. You don't have enough time to digest them. When it gets close to the performance that you want, you need to have them roughly 90 minutes out, and then maybe have a tiny one 30 minutes out. I remember when I was in the GB team, and we'd have like a 30 rate 20 or something like that, and everybody would be like, right, yeah, I got to fuel up for my race, blah, 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 like the gels, the friggin' drinks, all that, Lucozade, sports performance, shit like that. And then I almost kind of did this to antagonize them a little bit to get a reaction, because that's kind of what I'm like, but I would just grab the table sugar from the table, obviously, and just tear them and just get like 2 or 3 packs of literally sugar and just go like that. And everybody go, mate, what are you doing, mate? And I was like, it's the exact same shit that's in your gel right now. It's just a fraction of the cost, and it's easier. But anyways, so that's another big one. And then warm up. This is probably number one area for getting faster. 2 keys. There's a lot that goes into like a proper full warm up, but if I can just give you 2 things to focus on and make sure that you get right, is roughly 20 minutes of low intensity training at your UT2 low end, and then try and have roughly a longer sprint, where you're just getting to the point where you start to cross that anaerobic threshold and you just start to feel that sting. And when you feel that sting, that's you starting to use lactic acid as an energy source. And you do not want, while in the warm-up, you mean, oh shit, oh sting, I don't want that right now, I want to save it for the race. It's like, that's that takes time. Your body needs to have done that already in the warm-up before it does it in the race. The second time you then go and feel that pinch when you start your race, your body will do it much more efficiently. And if you that first time you do it in the warm-up, so long as you don't do that within 10 minutes of your actual race, you will recover from it. It's not gonna like destroy your energy stores. You maybe notice this when sorry, I'm feeling quite sleepy today. You maybe notice this when you do like 8 500s and the second or third one felt way easier. You're just not warming up enough. So that's the big one, is the roughly enough of a burst to get to cross that threshold and start to produce lactic acid. And then the second one, do UT2 for 20 minutes. You maybe notice that when you do UT2, that your heart rate goes up, and then it kind of hits a point when it starts going flatter. That's normally when you've started to become more aerobically efficient. So you're warming up your aerobic system. It takes time. You should feel sweaty. You should feel tired. You should feel like you've done too much. A good warm-up, a sign of a good warm-up is that when you feel like shit, I've done too much here. So, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much everything you can do. I have no idea if that's going to take a split off your times, but if it took a split off your times in 24 hours, I wouldn't be surprised. If it took more than that, I wouldn't be surprised. Because so many people, again, if you're already doing all this stuff, it's not going to take a split off your times, but chances are people are not. So do all of them, and it'll work. And do all this stuff in training as well. Like, it doesn't just apply to 24-hour window. It's just kind of a clickbait title that I thought would get some clicks, but hopefully. Yeah. I realized as well, so we've shut our books recently. This is normally the part where I do the call to action, see if anybody wants to apply to see if they could be a good fit for working with us. But literally right now, we've had to shut the books for a short amount of time, just as we bring on all the new athletes. So I realized YouTube, you can't just like remove your link like you can on Instagram. So if you're probably going to be watching this when our books are open again, but yeah, if you're interested, keep an eye on the page. I guess that's all I can say. And like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any comments. All right, guys. Bye.